Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bolero Mount Prospect. I am $2 Phil Brilo here with you all the way through the run of this 7 weekends of LBC National Championships competition. One squad in the books already. They started this morning at 9 a.m. local time. Now we're on to the 2 p.m. squad. Full house. 32 lanes in play. 64 bowlers taking their chance at this PBA LBC National Championships event. Titles in 8 divisions to be had. So 8 divisions altogether. PBA exempt. There are no PBA exempt bowlers on this squad. We'll see one tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Jason Sterner taking the lanes. We also have our Open Classic division, which is, as it says, open. If you want to take your chance against the best amateurs and professionals and PBA members, you have the opportunity to do that in the Open Classic division. $25,000 on top guaranteed for first place for Open Classic. We also have Senior Classic. Women's Classic, Men's and Women's Handicap, and new this year, Boys and Girls Handicap divisions. The Boys and Girls Handicap divisions, $2,500 guaranteed in smart scholarship money in those Boys and Handicap, Girls Handicap divisions. And the best part is, all our handicap division winners, the top 2 in the PBA exempt, Open Classic, and Women's Classic divisions, the top Senior Classic winner, and then the top Super Senior player in that division. Those 12 players will make it to Bayside Bowl in September for their chance once again at $100,000 in total prize money in the PBA LBC National Clash. That fun one-ball format. Boy, we were watching that this morning. We were replaying it here at Bolero Mount Prospect on the big screens. So much excitement. And even Norm, he talked about when he was in with us earlier, the excitement of anybody having a chance on that one ball. Whether you're a boys handicap player, girls handicap player, anybody with that chance to go. And you know, this man is one of the brainchilds of this whole event, and he's a brainchild of a lot of stuff for the PBA. That's, you got to like the TV ratings this year, Tom. Tom Clark, commissioner of the PBA, joining us. And I'll tell you what, PBA league shows, those things, the PBA Elite League, those shows, great ratings on FS1, great ratings again for the World Series of Bowling. Bowling is picking up. I'm having more people stop me on the street when I talk to them about what I do, and they go, bowling, and they go, I've watched it. I love the guy with the fro. The guy with, I mean, that's what you hear a lot of it, is the guy with the fro. Sure. Yeah, Kyle True. So thanks for joining us today down here for the opening ceremonies and got things underway. And that was a neat twist this year. Somebody got to throw out the opening shot against Norm Duke, and they beat Norm 8-6.
Yeah. Didn't he get 7? We got to make this official for the record books. I believe it was 7 that the
amateur
bowler
player
got, and then Norm got 6.
Okay. Still a win for our I don't have my list
funny.
with me, but unfortunately.
That's cool.
Yeah,
thanks for doing this. I mean, it's really incredible that anybody in this tournament will know that every shot they bowled during the PBA LBC was live streamed and archived, and they'll be able to go back and watch it. Their families and friends and the bowling centers back home can tune in and watch them bowl live and see how they're doing at this event. And as it continues to gain momentum, it's really another special part of the event.
Yeah, looking at the stats from our first round on just the main feed here when Norm was in the booth.
Yeah,
we had a couple of points where we hit 500 viewers at a time, and we had 5,000 different eyes on it during the round here in the mainstream, because like a lot of people like to do is they make sure like where they can go, so they land on the main feed, and then we got all those listings for the pairs in the description, and then they can go to the pairs and follow the people that they want to watch. So being able
this is a good squad. I mean, I just walked up and down. This is a pretty full squad, and most of these players look pretty accomplished. They throw the ball good. And it's really cool for me to see essentially our fans of the National PBA Tour out bowling a tournament. And so you see way more diverse styles. Like when you watch the PBA, everybody's perfect. And now you watch these guys, and they have their own styles for how they get the best out of their game, and so it's more varied. Look at, I just watched a guy just off the camera there that throwing a backup ball, and that's the way he bowls. Yeah, it's really interesting and fun to watch.
Yeah, let's move down here. Let's see who we got on 11 through 14 right now. We got Martin Brandt, Michael Brandt. So it's a neat part. Family bowling here. It doesn't matter what your ages or abilities are.
Yeah.
Martin, senior classic division. Michael, open classic division. So it's fun just to be able to bowl. You can bring your family in. All 4 you can be on the same pair of lanes, and you bowl your tournament action. Your 6 games just like a PB event. You cross the entire house. Sometimes people say, oh, these lanes on this part of the house are better than lanes on this part of the house. You don't have that advantage here. You're crossing all the lanes inside of Valero Mount Prospect.
Yeah, it seems normal to us being so close to the PBA, and a lot of people have bowled tournaments. Most of the guys on this squad have bowled tournaments where they move after each game, but it's not really a normal opportunity for people to get to bowl like pros do, where you bowl a game and then move. I mean, obviously no one does that in league, and many tournaments that you bowl, you just stay on the same pair, state tournaments, city tournaments. So being in a format like this, it's just like a PBA 6-game qualifying round, and having only 4 on a pair means you're going to bowl faster. And then to move and have to adjust to the next pair. Yeah, I mean, these are things that pros, it's second nature, but for amateurs, this is their chance to see what that feels like and how that can impact your round.
And one of the cool things I think is the best change the tournament's made this year, getting rid of that one exempt squad and letting them bowl whenever there's an open squad. And now, tomorrow morning, everybody that comes in, it will be bowling on the same squad with Jason Sterner. Yeah. How cool is that? If you might have the chance tomorrow, if you're bowling, Flash might be on your pair.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I mean, whoever came up with that
was actually
applause to them.
That was actually the player committee.
Okay.
Saying that it would be a different way to do it that would be cool. I mean, I see the pros and cons of both ways. the doubles portion of this event, I don't think people have really grasped, completely yet. And being able to bowl with people that are going to bowl after you, and I under the format of holding all the exempt players to be the last day of the tournament on their own squad, you knew for a fact throughout the run of the event that you could pick any pro bowler to be your partner and double and combine your score with theirs for doubles. And then the hope was that show on your live stream of the exempt day would be by far the most popular one to watch, because not only are you watching all the greats at the same time, but people have essentially bet on those players, and they knew that my score is getting added to them, so I want to watch whoever, E.J. Tackett, Sean Rash, whoever the bowler that they picked as a doubles partner. Now you have to be pretty smart about it, because like you said, Jason Sterner is going to bowl tomorrow. So if you bowl in this tournament next weekend, Saturday or Sunday, you won't be able to pick Jason Sterner as your doubles partner, because he's already in, he's already got his score. So that's the one difference that way.
But they can get on League Pals tonight and pay that entry if they wanted to.
Enter with him first and pay for Sterner first, get his score. As long as you're in and you pay your entry before your doubles partner bowls, correct.
Yeah, so that's the nice part about having League Pals on board with this event as well, is that you can go ahead and bowl with whoever, as long, if they're bowling before you, even if you have friends bowling before you. Hey, my buddy John Smith is bowling 2 weekends before me. John might forget. You might be a little forgetful, so you pay for you and John.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. And now you're entered.
Yeah,
and then the check goes to you, so you can
yeah. That's one thing about this event. I'll tell you. Of all the things, there's a couple things, but since Bolero bought the PBA, there's a lot of feelings, all kinds of different ways. But I'll tell you, two things where Bolero and PBA combining forces that have been really strong for the whole sport. Were PBA Junior, starting that program together, and then this tournament. And the PBA League Bowler National Championships is the best evidence that you could have that Bolero is using the PBA's traditions and branding power to create an event for league bowlers. And trust me, they're not taking money out of this and benefiting from it from a financial standpoint. It's basically just an opportunity that they put out there, and all the money that comes in goes back into this tournament. The prize money is way, way above the entry fee money taken in. The prize money in this event is fantastic.
I think you had something on a social media post the other day. $434,000 was paid out last year. Something
a little closer
remarkable.
to $350.
I think. $350.
Yeah, $350, and 150 different people cashed, and out of about 1,000 entries, I think it pays 1 in 8.
Yep.
$25,000 for the open division first place, and a spot on the TV show, which has a $60,000 first place. So essentially, you're bowling for $85,000 with a 6-game in a 6-game tournament. I mean, it's an incredible opportunity for anybody. I mean, last year Trey wins. We know he's a great player, but the kid was 16 years old. I mean, it's incredible what he did. And now we know he's going to Wichita. He just won a regional last week.
Yeah, I was there covering that regional. It was fun. When you take down A.J. Johnson for your first title on the regional tour, it's not officially a title for him because he's still a youth player. But knowing that, the young talent that's out there, and he's bowled a bunch of PBA junior events as well. I mean, that's what you mentioned about how solid the PBA junior program is. There had to be at least 15 kids that bowled that regional in Lockport, Illinois last weekend out of a field of 120-some. 15 of them were still PBA junior members.
Yeah.
It was incredible to see.
I saw Ryan Spear was in the field too. I don't know if
he finished third. He got beat by Trey the step player.
No,
he just joined the PBA.
Oh, okay, I wasn't sure.
Another, and that's the thing. There's so many young players now that are not waiting on. I need to bowl this tournament and I need to be. Nope, screw it. PBA. I'm PBA. I love
Ryan
that
Barnes
fact.
was waiting for the second the
college season was
the
done.
college season was over, and he was in and ready to bowl regionals and ready to go.
Cameron Crowe. Oh, that's another one.
Well, I've been begging him for years. I said, when are you joining? When are you joining? And Cam Crowe would always say, it's not good enough. I don't think I can stay with him. I kept telling him, no, you can. You just got to get out there and get the experience, and you will be able to. You just have, but it's true you need experience under your belt, but you can only get that by joining and bowling. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, there's a sister event to the LBC National Championships being held up in Vernon Hills, below Vernon Hills.
Yeah.
We have 2 Pearson champions on our live stream right now. We have
right?
Ryan Kohlmeyer, who just unfortunately 2-8-10 on a big string. He won 5 or 6 years ago, and then Matthew Staninger won 2 years ago.
Wow. Yeah,
so,
that's a way to make a weekend out of this. Is you come to Chicago, which is beautiful in the summer. Of course, it's raining today, but it'll be beautiful throughout these 7 weeks that we're here. And you bowl the LBC 6 games, and then the next day you go over and bowl the Pete 8 games. You got to throw a lot more shots at the Pete because there's no strikes. But it's probably the most fun tournament experience anyone has every year, and so to be able to have that as a companion and have these 2 events work off of each other, and that's another thing that among many that we just have to continually say until it becomes second nature for bowlers, because we're all habit creatures, and events with long traditions like the Pete have this kind of who's going to show up every year, and they just put it in their calendar. And that's what we want this tournament to end up being. And this is only the 2nd year, but it's growing pretty fast. I'm sure we'll end up with around 1,500 entries at the end of this year.
Nice.
And I think that's a really strong start. And we kept talking about kids and PBA Junior, and this year we've introduced 2 junior divisions, boys and girls, handicap. Yep. So kids of all skill levels can try their hand at this.
I know
event.
a 7-year-old that couldn't wait to sign up for it,
yeah.
and he's going to be here in July. So he's out there. Normally he'd be playing a lot of baseball during the summer. Nope. He's as soon as baseball practice is done, he wants to go bowling. He wants to go practice. He wants to be ready for this LBC National Championship.
I'll tell you, kids averages really fluctuate. I mean, it's something that you end up recognizing, but a kid can average something last year in their league and get 30, 40, 50 pins better in a month of if they really if they really want to work on their game and they have a good coach, because they're just in the formative stages, and so it's kind of interesting. I think there was a kid on the first squad today that ended up with a pretty big score.
Garrett Beyer, I think I can't remember his last name, but Garrett. Yeah, we were watching him, and Norm was really impressed with the young two-handers form once again.
But I think his average was so low that he was getting a ton of pins a game. So, you'll see things like that. But it really, even above the idea of trying to win this thing, that's the type of things that just happen. And the reality is you're getting a great experience, and I was happy about that last year. I felt like everybody that left said, this is great, and we're going to come back. And most of them signed back up to bowl this year, and the only reasons that they didn't were just scheduling or whatever, personal issues or something like that. But you're gonna, and if you're in this area and want to stop by any weekend, you're gonna see some cool bowling, and you're gonna catch a really good vibe. You can come by and take a picture with the Duke trophy. It'll be here all year. And
tomorrow take a picture with Jason Sterner. Come in next Saturday. Chris Prather's going to be here. I mean, sweet. Even if, as Tom said, it's open to the public. It's free. Come down and watch.
Yeah.
Come watch. I mean, there's some big players coming. I mean, July 6th, get to watch E.J. Tackett, Frankie Lavoie, and A.J. Johnson all in the same squad.
Nice.
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong with that at all.
E.J. Tackett, we had a PBA event here this year in this building, and Marshall Kent won it. I think EJ was a high qualifier. He was high qualifier because he backdoored into the step ladder. Yeah, because he lost in match play, but he was high qualifier just like he always is. EJ was the one. I always tell people about this past PBA season is it was completely unpredictable, and it was like every week what's going to happen, every show, every game, every shot. It was really like, wow, what? Except for E.J. Tackett leading everything.
Right.
and being completely consistent and just dominant. He's not quite as dominant as the year before, but he is definitely a generational talent that we're all lucky to get a chance to watch.
Yeah. If you would have walked up to a PBA fan in January going, oh, can't wait to watch EJ Tackett. Hey, can't wait to watch Boog Kroll. And they would have gone, huh?
Yeah.
Everybody knows Boog now.
Yeah. And De'Ron
No
Booker.
doubt.
And,
Yeah.
You know, and even seeing Marshall make this comeback this year, and the TOC was unbelievable, and it was so exciting. And, you know, Marshall had a few shots in the TOC where you go, wait a minute, is he okay? I mean, he's missing the headpin left or gutter or what, you know, and yet struck so many times and bowled so intensely, so well that he won both of those events where he had, you know, unpredictable shots on the way. And so who else won? Bill O'Neill won the Players, and Ryan Barnes made that show.
Right.
As a college kid, I mean, incredible. And who won the other majors? EJ is the one righty who makes the finals at the World Championship, runs the table against 4 left-handers in the arena. I mean, that was incredible. And then we had the U.S. Open, which had the best stepladder, maybe the best lineup, not necessarily what happened, the best lineup maybe ever, with Belmo, Simo, EJ, Kyle, and Bill as the 5. I mean, that's incredible. And you have Kyle Troop capture the U.S. Open with his dad there. And yeah, it was really an exciting year. And you know, the PBA National Championships right here going on. The winners of all these divisions and a few other extra wild cards will make it onto our last show of this year, the PBA LBC Clash. And in that one, everybody makes it all the different skill levels, and we even the playing field by making it a 1-ball competition. 1 ball, low man out each round and be the last one standing. And everybody's got a chance in that format. So
yeah, anybody that bet against Belinda Maple being out in the first 3 players last year, boy, you were severely mistaken.
Yeah, she put on a show. Lenny Borish, of course, we're all rooting for his health, which I'm not sure he needs that much help because I see him like in the top 10 of every tournament he bowls. He's out in Vegas right now at the Super Senior. He was 5th.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wanted to get a ball drilled this week because I have to bowl next month. And I asked Lenny if he was in the shop, and he said, no, he's in Vegas bowling. And I said, well, that is a great excuse because we were all worried about Len. So to know that he can still – I mean, he could bowl great if he was – probably from his hospital bed. But seeing that he's actually able to get to Vegas and bowl, and he came to our Hall of Fame dinner this year, and you know, despite fighting cancer, if you don't know, and fighting it a difficult form of it.
I mean, he was fighting it last year I mean, he knew there were some health issues during the LBC
at the
Clash last year. He was talking about it, and then all of a sudden, you know, your first set of testing comes back with a bunch of negatives. All of a sudden they go, thank goodness they looked again before it got too bad, because all of a sudden, it's not supposed to be here, but you have cancer in this type of cancer in this spot. And so
he was nervous.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, well, we're going to have fun here in Portland, Maine, which he and his wife did. Yeah. I was rooting for him for 2 reasons. One, because of knowledge that he was having this setback, and I wanted him to win the 60,000 that would help him. And 2, because I had him in the pool. But and then we drew right before the competition. Yeah. But with Lenny, because of everything that he's done for bowling and for bowlers for all these decades in his shop and out on the lanes, he didn't win the 60,000 in that clash that would help him in this battle he's under. But because of everything he's done, he has so many friends. They started a GoFundMe page for him without him even knowing about it, and they raised just about the same amount, 60,000, for him. You know, just from asking people for donations, and that shows you what the bowling community can do, and it shows you how you can get when you're a person like Lenny, how the bowling world will take care of you in your time of need.
Yeah. I mean, they had a huge fundraiser in Kenosha at one of the centers down there where he lives, and everybody came together. The Facebook page Love for Lenny came around, and everybody's telling stories about Lenny and getting people to donate items and cash and that type of thing.
Yeah, beautiful stuff.
You mentioned a pool in a little bit, and I saw the other day on social media now DraftKings is offering futures on the PBA Tour Finals. So when websites like DraftKings and Bet Rivers and that starts noticing bowling, you have to take that as a positive. There's no other option.
Absolutely. No, it's fantastic. It's fantastic. I was happy that Bet Rivers did. That was kind of the one after we had Fox Bet. But Fox Bet was a little bit limited in its reach, and things are changing so fast with sports wagering. I remember I was in French Lick, Indiana, actually, for the Indiana's 75th anniversary of their Bowling Proprietors Association, and I was speaking there, and I went down to the casino that they have at the hotel, and that's the first time I saw bowling on somewhere other than the Bet Rivers app, and it was there, and then I've realized now that that the service that provides the odds to a Bet Rivers also is the same service that many other casino groups have.
Okay.
So, like for example, Potawatomi in Milwaukee, that casino has sports betting, has a great sports book, but bowling hadn't been on there. About 2 weeks ago, it was on there, and that's because they just picked up the exact same numbers that you see with Bet Rivers, and I think you saw the same thing with DraftKings.
Yeah.
And so now they're all just if we're in that syndicate and we're available, I think it helps in a couple ways. One of the great struggles that we have with the PBA is to make sure fans know the players, because when you know them, watching them compete is that much more intense and fun. You want someone to win or you want them to lose because you know them. Well, if you bet on someone, you want them to win or lose just as much. And when there's that much passion involved in being a viewer, that can spread, and that's one really, really key way. And then secondarily is the opportunities from advertising or partnerships with different types of groups like DraftKings, and of course we'll pursue those and try to get a partner or get someone that wants to sponsor the PBA and tell people, hey, make sure you can go bet bowling on our site. Now, I'm not allowed to bet on the PBA.
Right.
I set that rule on myself.
Yep. Yeah, I'd pick so many losers. I said, yeah, I fully understand. Obviously the players can't do it. So
the PBA players are not allowed to bet. And I'll tell you this story. I don't know the individual's name, so I'm not hiding it. And if he doesn't want it known, I'm not giving away a name. But I know somebody who won $50,000 betting Jillian Martin to win the Queens.
Wow.
The Queens was on the same line. She was plus 100,000.
Wow.
He bet $50
and won 50
grand.
Wow. That's phenomenal.
That was a good bet.
That is phenomenal. She's one of those. I think she'd be one of those once-in-a-generation talents you see on the women's side. Norm was. We talked to Norm a little bit about her in the morning on the morning squad about work that Norm had done with her when she was a young teenager, and how the dad, her dad credited her with fixing a little arm swing issue and stuff like that. And now
she comes out of the ball just like you. Her hand just opens up. She looks like a young Phil Bryla. No, she throws it about as well as you can in college. But I was trying to, some people were telling me, well, yeah, but how could you not bet her? That was an easy bet. I'm like, no, it's never an easy. First of all, 100,000 was probably high. They probably wished it was a little bit lower on someone of her caliber.
Right.
But she is the youngest ever to win the Queens, and she could throw the best ball in that tournament for the next 20 years and not win it, because it's a crapshoot type event like the Masters. It's very hard to predict. You're just predicting and you're just hoping.
She's 18? She's not even 19 yet, correct? She's younger than Simon when Simon won his Masters, if I remember correctly.
She's been around so long, she seems like she's got to be older than 18. remember, she won PBA Junior. Mm-hmm. She was a freshman last year at Nebraska, or this year?
Last year, because last summer when she was getting ready to go to Nebraska, she took a title down on the PWBA Tour as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, she she's one of those that you follow and you can emulate and try to be like in anyone, boy or girl, should. But you have to understand, it's not just like natural talent. She works extremely hard on her game, and anyone to be as great as the people you see at the top of the game. They are obsessed with it.
Yes.
And they know every single thing about it, and they study everything about it, and they watch themselves and watch others. And a lot of them try to put forth the notion or the overall vibe that they just show up to bowl, and it's not that way.
No. Norm talked about it, how these players nowadays not just have to work on their A game, but their Q game and their Z game, because now how many players are backing up the shot, reverse hooking it at a 3-6-10.
Oh, yeah.
So they don't chop it, and they're working on that. And even, Belmo's doing that now.
Yeah.
And
the kids. And the kids growing up today, because of things like this, all this live streaming and YouTube, our YouTube channel, and all the other YouTube channels, they're able to just study and get better faster than ever before. I was talking to somebody about when I was a kid. I was lucky on Saturday. When I was a little kid, very small, I was watching Norm Duke bowl on TV.
When you were shorter than Norm?
Which is actually kind of true. Actually, in 1983, he wins his first title, and I was 13. So, but that was your one chance to watch bowling, and you couldn't tape it, and you couldn't watch it back. It just was happening, and it was over, and it was once a week, and now it's just this inundation, and so you see more and you see more styles, and it gives you more ideas, and the creativity continues to grow with players, and in the future you'll have people come up that can bowl right and left-handed, two-handed and one-handed, reverse spin, right hand, and they'll be able to adjust to any characteristic of a bowling center on the fly.
Yeah.
And and by then there'll be other developments in the game that maybe, you never know what's going to happen. You can't predict the way a game evolves. And I know people want to hear from Norm, right? Is he coming back in?
Norm's going to come back in.
In
another few minutes. So,
but like when I was at that Indiana event, our International Bowling Museum and Hall of Fame curator, Carrie Smith, gave a presentation, and she talked about how drastically the game changed in, I think she said, the 1860s. And do you have a guess as to why it dramatically changed in the 1860s?
Is it past the 9-pin rule, or it was 9 pins? They had the 10 pin to get around the law. That was in the 1700s.
That was a big change, but that wasn't it. And I'm thinking more along the lines of how we talk about synthetic lanes, or reactive resin bowling balls, or two-hand style, or now the string pins are coming. And, we have all these evolutions, automatic scoring.
Is that when Brunswick started building wood lanes in the 1860s?
That's a good. That's a good guess. And it's probably in line with which you're not going to get it, but it's the improvement in indoor lighting.
Oh, yeah.
Just the idea that you could have lights,
right,
and have a building where you could bowl at night. They were bowling outside most of the time. In the day, in the sunlight, on grass,
right, or dirt or whatever. Because there's still so many rolling ball games that are bocce and all that are done in grass and dirt and that type of thing. So no, I never would have thought indoor lighting would have been.
When she said that, I was like, "Wow, see."
I would have guessed indoor plumbing before indoor lighting.
Well, that may have played some role. Yeah.
Oh man, you mentioned one of those moments like where you were, when you saw Norm win his first title, and if you ask a lot of bowlers over, I'm going to say 45 and over, it's kind of like the JF. Where were you in JFK? Was this assassination? Where were you when Pete McCordick shot that 300?
Yeah, I was watching on TV.
Were you at home? You were at home.
Yeah,
I was at a bowling center in Milwaukee, the old Coolidge's West Milwaukee, 16 lanes over the top ball returns. We were bowling a tournament. That bowling center stopped. For the last two frames.
Oh, it was
absolutely
amazing.
Everybody stopped. It was incredible to be part of that experience.
Yeah, and everybody remembers. Everyone remembers how Pete was shaking at the line, but when you watch it back, it wasn't that dramatic. But I think the reason why when you watched it live and felt like he was shaking through the screen is because you were shaking too.
You just wanted to be right up right on top of him.
Everyone was nervous because it's unbelievable. I haven't had that. Obviously I get this opportunity to watch the pros so often and been to 300 shows now, but I haven't had that feeling of being completely nervous a lot lately in the last few years, but I did at the TOC this year. That last match, when Simo struck and he gave it he was into it. He's like, I'm not gone, or whatever he said. I'm not dead yet, or whatever. Yeah. It was so intense, and you could feel the importance of this moment, and you realize they're on lanes 27 and 8 at Riviera Lanes, where the history of bowling has taken place, and the greatest moments in the game that you all remember have happened right there on that pair. And they're bowling. We're on big Fox, national television audience, broadcast TV, and it's two. Marshall Kent was a collegiate bowler of the year for 3 consecutive years or 4 consecutive years. I mean, he dominated college bowling, came off and was the can't miss kid, and kind of fell off, and now has made this resurgence. Simonson, since he was 16, he's been, a freak of nature, a genius really on the lanes, and he leads the TOC, and you're watching this championship match, and it would be both of their first, tournament of champions, and the banners are in the building of who's won this event, and that's when I was just like, you get goosebumps,
right?
And you're nervous, and you wonder how the players can perform in that situation, because it's, it's what makes bowling incredible, because it's all up to that player and up to them performing, and we all know what can go wrong and how millions of things can go wrong and how they have to perform in that second. And and Simo threw a great shot.
That second ball in the 10th.
Yeah, the second ball in the 10th. It just kind of went down the hill and just didn't carry. Like, that right lane was different. But just an incredible match, and that's why I love bowling as a fan, and why it's really worth working so hard, and so I love seeing all these people that love it too.
Yeah, that's why it's great on TV. Yeah, basketball games have exciting moments, baseball games have exciting moments in there, but when bowling's on TV, every 20 minutes or so, you have a winner and a loser, on those Fox and FS1 shows. And every 20 minutes, most of the time, it's getting down to that 10th frame where somebody needs to do something one way or another. Yep. I can't remember a lot of matches this year on Fox or FS1 where, hey, we're going to blow out of this one early and get, there was one match during the playoffs, that was it, where it's just like, okay, we're going to roll it off and be done and get to the finals. So
the biggest difference in a match ever on TV was so interesting that there was no way to skip through it, because and everybody's minds remember it was at the Tournament of Champions in 2011 at Red Rock Lanes in Las Vegas, and it was Mika Koivuniemi 299 versus Tom Doherty 100, a 199 pin difference, but it was so compelling and unbelievable. And of course you're watching to see if Mika bowls 300, but you're also watching to see if Tom bowls 100, and he does it on getting 2 in the top. And then who goes on to win the first ever PBA LBC National Championships clash? Tom Doherty, $60,000.
And the best part about that, a lot of other commentators would have just, this guy's Sterling. Rob Stone embraced it. That's where I found my true love for Rob Stone on the commentary, was when he embraced that 100 game for Tom.
Yeah.
And he just wanted him to get there, make it happen. And that's where you could see how Rob's really grown his love for the sport, and he still, even though he's so busy with his other stuff at Fox, still loves this sport to this day. Yeah. And the remarks he made during the Hall of Fame dinner this year were, if you don't think Fox is paying attention in the big office in L.A., you're wrong. You're very wrong. They love the PBA. That was so great to hear that during the Hall of Fame banquet from Rob.
Yes. And he does that. He did that for us for nothing. Oh. And he's one of the top sports announcers, period, in the country. He's the main host of World Cup soccer, the main host of college football, Big Ten, the main host of college basketball, and he does bowling, like you said. And when he did that match with Mika, that was when we were on ESPN, and when Rob was at ESPN, he was a young guy just trying to get any job, and they asked him if he'd do bowling, and he said yes because he'd do anything. He knew nothing about it. But he didn't just treat it like a goof. He actually learned as much as he could. He learned to love it.
Yeah.
And then, when I'm trying to sell the PBA to Fox in 2018, one of my best sources and the person I go see immediately when I get to the office is Rob Stone at Fox in LA, and so his assistance and his familiarity with the game and ability to talk to the Fox executives definitely did not hurt us. And I think that he's the modern day. He's the modern day Chris Schenkel in that you're a big star in all these other sports, but you kind of have a heart for bowling more than anything.
Yeah. I love Norm right now because he's behind a few pairs right now, and he's high-fiving players as he's coming off. He was seeing the safe side into somebody and almost dropped the spare. Safe. Guy came back and gave Norm a high five.
Maybe it's just me, but if I was bowling right now, if Norm was behind my pair, I would be so much more nervous. I don't like him watching me bowl. I bowled the Pete with him for like 5 years in a row on the same pair. And at least at the Pete, you have this built-in excuse that it's impossible, it's a joke,
Right.
But in real bowling, I don't want him to watch me. It's too much. Too much. But these guys probably enjoy it. I hope they do.
Here's a if we stood this young man, you can see right here, Landon Kelling. Landon's got to be about 6'6".
Yeah, he bowls youth tournaments in Wisconsin. Yeah. I've watched him bowl with my son in the WYBT and the JBST. I'm familiar with him. He bowls every single time. He bowls every week, and it's the kids like that you see. You go, well, you know what? They must be bit by the bug.
Yeah.
And they're going to grow up with this game, and it's good for them because number one, he'll be able to bowl in college, and have a lot of fun traveling the country with his teammates and competing at that level, and then he'll be able to bowl until he's as old as the oldest guy in this field today, which is probably about 70.
Right.
And there's people older than that that'll bowl this tournament. For the first time, we're going to put the super senior, the PBA 60 high scorer from the PBA LBC is going to make the Clash show. So you're going to see two different seniors make the show.
Yeah, it's going to be fun, and especially, like I said, my little 7-year-old buddy, he's so fired up because if he bowls well and he gets a chance to go to Bayside and he watches it on TV. He loves the atmosphere out there, and it's great to see, not just there, but like during the World Series of Bowling, there were fans. You hear the bowlers like Packy was encouraging the fans to make noise, and the fans were making noise. I love how that's shifting.
We'd love it. We'd love it. I think that in most places we go, in most crowds for bowling, the fans are really intense bowling fans, and they have this extreme respect for the players. And so their respect for the players leads them to want to be quiet and not make a sound because you don't want to offend a player, you don't want to catch a player off guard, you don't want to make a player feel like some sound you made impacts the game. You saw what happened to Belmo this year at the Masters. There was a sound, someone dropped their phone, and it kind of looked like that's the reason why he missed in the 10th frame. And so they all want to avoid that. But what Packy was trying to make everyone understand is he wants you to cheer. And if you just stay cheering, you won't throw him off. There won't be that random phone that drops. And so we don't want to tell people you must cheer because that's no fun, and that doesn't even look right. It's awkward. It's like telling people to cheer for the wheel on Wheel of Fortune. But if the fans understand that the players are cool, if you just are free with making noise, and they can bowl just as well that way, that could be the key to changing everything. And Bayside Bowl, of course, has been doing that for almost more than that. When did we first go into Bayside? 2015?
2015.
16? Yeah, 2015. And I remember yelling your name out there. Phil!
Well, we were doing an interview for the Spare Time Bowling Show while they were bowling league, and then Mika made that 2-8-10.
That's right. I didn't want you to tell people what happened. Watch it.
Yeah. Oh my God, Mika! And watch what happens. Well, it was great.
We all learn things at Bayside Bowl. One is how the fans can cheer, and the other is don't drink too much at the tailgate party, because when you're tailgating at 7 a.m. like I was that day, it can be around noon, and you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, then you might be in trouble because we got the PBA Tour Finals coming up in the next couple of weeks.
That's right. You know Lee Sand. He makes a beer called PBA, so you know that they're gonna at the Steel City
Beer and Brews.
Steel City Beer and Brews.
Yeah.
You know that they're going to be ready, and the fans are going to be going wild there. He's going to tell them you can, and those 8 players are going to be fine with the fans going wild.
Yeah.
So be as loud as possible. That's going to be a good event next week on CBS Sports Network.
Yep, looking forward to that. I've got that DVR set while we're bowling these squads here. So wrapping up game 2, we're going to thanks for taking some time sitting down with us and letting the fans know what's going on in the PBA Tour. And
yeah,
I can't, as a fan, I can't thank you enough for what you've done for the tour the last decade plus, saving it. And
thanks, Phil.
And
you've been right there along the way. And
Wow.
this type of work is not easy, to put all these cameras up by yourself, set it all up, and broadcast this for everybody. So the main thing I think you would tell people to do is share it.
Right.
That's what I do. I mean, so I have my commissioner page on Facebook, and I get the link to the main, and I put that link on that page, and as many people as possible that spread the word to their friends that, hey, you can watch this stuff, and like you said earlier today, I mean, get an idea for where you want to play the lanes. I mean, see how everybody else plays the lanes, see a lot of different styles from all over the country, and almost every squad you're going to find somebody that you have a connection to in one way or another.
Right.
And you can enjoy watching it and just let everybody else know.
Yeah, so thanks to the time. We've got Game 3 coming up next here from Bolero Mount Prospect, our second squad of the opening weekend, the PBA LBC National Championships, the 2024 edition. let's roll into game 3 here at the PBA LBC National Championships. This is your 2024 edition. I'm $2 Phil Brylow, bringing you through the entire run. 6 more weekends after this opening weekend. I want to thank you for taking some time to join us. It's a rainy Saturday here in the greater Windy City area. And it's a great day to be inside to either watch some bowling, as some of our fans are doing here, or take on the 6-game challenge that is the PBA LBC National Championships. Every squad bowling on the same pattern, 43 feet in length, about a 4.5 to 1 ratio. Nice volume in the pattern. Lots of areas you can play. We've seen quite a few approaches to the pocket by players. Seen some players try playing straight up the outside with urethane. We've tried some people getting deep and cranking it, as we saw there. By Anthony Motroni. Foursome you have here on 7/8 this game. Christopher Biesecker, he's bowling in the men's handicap division. We just mentioned Motroni, he's bowling in the Open Classic division. Tyler Tarnow, Open Classic, and Blake Dornbush, Open Classic. That's your players on 7 and 8. Over on 9 and 10, Gavin Barkman, Open Classic. Bradley Schonder Jr., Brad Schonder, and Melvin Williams, all in your men's handicap division. Once again, 8 divisions in this event. 7 divisions. You'll see every squad no matter what. And then our 8th division, the PBA exempt division, first player taking that on will be tomorrow at 11 a.m. with Jason Sterner and the man who kicked off our opening ceremonies a little while ago.
I'm here with Phil Brylow.
With house shoes and someone else's bowling ball, and you almost got back to the head pin.
Not
I was
really. No,
impressed.
I almost got back to the 3-pin. I got 6. If you're wondering, I got 6. Last year I got 8, so I averaged 7.
Yeah. And next year, well, maybe next year they'll have somebody drill something up for you, or have just one ready for you with your specs or something.
Oh, I like it better like that.
Oh, you do? Okay.
I do. I like
Okay.
it. In fact, people say, you got 6. You know, Janae, she's basically a PBA staff. She says, you got 6, Norm? That's not bad. I was happy with that.
I was going to say, I haven't touched the ball since January 2020, and I'd be happy to get 6 as well. Yeah. So, no doubt about it. So we got some guys that can strap it up on this pair with Tornow and.
Yeah, boy, I got a little scared just a minute ago. For those of you watching, this guy named Landon Killing.
We had him on a little bit when Tom Clark was finishing up game 2 in the booth.
Well, he had a couple of he had a couple of bad shots, and then he said, and I was sitting next to his dad, and he said, "Dad, you know, I'm not feeling right, and I keep doing this, and I drop the ball." And I told him, I said, "Hey, look, keep this part of your arm at your target at all times, and just go with it." And he missed the head pin twice in a row, and he got an open, and his dad looked at me and said, "Well, Norm, maybe now's not the best time to give him some advice." And I told his dad, I said, "Look, he just threw 3 of the worst balls of his entire life. He's got 1 open. It will take him 5 minutes to make that up. If we don't tell him, he's got 5 games he's got to go through the same problems."
Yeah.
Next thing you know, the kid strikes out, shoots 2-teen, and here we are. Well, if he'd have bowled 140, I would have looked a lot worse. Now, I would have been out of here having lunch.
But you mentioned it when we talked during the 9 a.m. squad today about how even if you find yourself out of it, you still need to find a way to fight it and find out what's going to work. And you helped that young man do it right there. You could have just mailed in the rest of that game, but he was willing to help listen to you and willing to find what he needed to do to get it done.
And he stuck with it.
Yeah.
And you know what? That right, kudos to you, Landon.
Yeah, Tom Clark, very familiar, bowls with Tom's son Rory in some youth tournaments in the Wisconsin area. And so, yeah.
Yeah, Rory's getting pretty good now.
just a little.
Sometimes as a Dallas Strikers manager, these kids come along, like we talked a little bit before about Ryan Barnes, and I've been telling Ryan for 2 years now, I got my eye on you. Well, now I think he's eligible.
Yeah, if he gets past tour trials.
He's got to get past tour trials, that's right.
I'll tell you what, I may take some vacation time and come down here and watch tour trials because I want to see these. You're going to see the guys that have struggled this year on tour that fell out of the points, guys like Anthony Lavery Spar. They're going to have to fight for the 12 spots to get back on tour. Then you have these young kids coming out like Ryan Barnes and Cam Crow and Nate Purchase and just
the bones.
Watch it, and just watch it happen and just watch them fight it out. I'm usually one, if I'm at a PBA event, usually it's on the PBA's dime because I'm doing something like this or doing some other stuff. That's actually an event where I want to come and watch it and just, watch these guys battle it out. 4 days, 12 games a day, 48 games to determine what you're going to be doing for the next year of your career. Talk about pressure.
Yeah, it sure is. I got to watch golf's version of that live.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had in Orlando, Florida, I guess about 10 years ago. Oh, my God, the tears, the emotion high and low, I'm going to go shoot myself, and I can't believe I chose this. Every comment you can possibly imagine you heard, and they weren't all together. You were seeing people two at a time, and you don't know them, but
Right.
It's the only thing they've thought about in the last month or two or three.
Yeah.
And then when they don't get it done, or when they do, the
Right.
difference is in their disposition. Wow, that tour trials is the same way. That's all they want to do is they want to go out and they want to test their skills against the best in the world. And you don't get that chance unless you can make it out of the tour trials.
Yeah.
Mike Edwards, when the first tour trials, he led and made it out. Back then, he and I, we traveled together, so to speak, And he was the most nervous I'd ever seen him. And he just went in there and dug deep. And I tell you what, he's one of those that had that disposition of, I'm glad I made it through, I get to bowl. But there were others that it wasn't so pleasant.
Yeah, and then back when the original tour trials were out, there was the alternate way to get in as well, as Tornow gets at 3-6-10, where if you finish in the top in your region for a year. So, some of the guys in the Midwest like Dale Traber and Dave Bears got their year out there, but then you saw that just difference where it was just tough to stay in that exempt field back in the day, even coming off the regional tour.
Well, there's no doubt. I tell you, when you're bowling against the best in the world or doing anything against the best in the world, you got to realize that, man, good isn't good anymore.
Right.
Good is so-so at best. You got to be great.
Yeah.
And you're not just doing a time card, and saying, I'm here. Everything that you do matters. Every single thing you do matters. It matters whether you've got a cold. It matters whether you didn't get sleep last night because you were tossing and turning, thinking about why you can't make the 310.
Yeah.
Little things that we seldom think about. Everything matters.
And then some people go, well, it's easier to make it out there at golf. And, well, it's not that much easier to get out there in golf because there's a lot more guys in golf. They're trying to get the 125 spots from the FedEx points and then maybe 20 spots out of their Q school.
Hey, look, it's the same in every sport.
Yeah.
It's the same in every sport. And here's what I did learn in the ESPYs, is every athlete at the ESPYs treats other athletes exactly the same. It doesn't matter that you're $45 million a year or $200 million over 4 years, or a guy like me who can career it for $150,000. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you are in the upper echelon of your sport, because everyone there respects the fact that there's no time slot. There's no time card.
Yeah.
It's you either beat everybody or you don't. And if you do, they have respect for you, and they treat you with the same respect that they would like to receive. And, man, so many of those athletes I saw earlier on in their careers where it wasn't going so good, and then I got to see the transformation when they started dominating.
Yeah.
And, man, I'll tell you what, it's the same in every sport is my point. It's just as difficult for bowling as it is golf, or golf as it is bowling.
How many ESPYs you got in the mandal at home?
I have 5.
5. Geez, sir, I thought it was just 2. Wow, 5 ESPYs.
5, yeah.
That's
cool.
And that's a fan vote, right? Wasn't that a fan vote?
Well, it has been different voting.
Different voting all the
every
time.
year. Last year was a fan vote.
Yeah.
My last one was a fan vote.
Fan vote. Yeah, it's pretty. It's still pretty. Just watching you. You're sitting by that pair at landed before and stuff like that, and just watching the interaction. Tom goes, I couldn't have Norm sit behind me like that. I'd be way too nervous.
Well,
he goes, he's bowled with me in the Peterson before, and that guy, he goes, but that's different. Nobody strikes at the Peterson. But he goes, if Norm was sitting there watching me for a game, he goes, I'd be really nervous. I think it's one of the coolest things that you can come to this event with the PBA National Championships and have you or Jason Sterner tomorrow be on the pair next to you, maybe give you a word of advice, or EJ Tackett in a few weeks being on the same squad and talking to him beforehand and then seeing how he's bowling.
Or just saying, like, hi, Carl, and you're Carl. That means so much to them because you're looking in their eyes and you're saying their name and they're going, wow, Norm knows who I am. Norm knows me, or Jason Sterner tomorrow, or all those other players that are going to be in here. Hey, look, we're just like y'all. We're no better or no worse, but we bowl good. That's the only difference. So if I made you nervous standing behind you, I'm sorry about that. Get over it.
So, question in the chat is somebody's asking what the LBC stands for in the PBA LBC National Championships.
I know.
Tell them, Norm.
It's the League Bowler Certification.
Yes, indeed.
Yes, but this is the PBA LBC League Bowler Certification National Championship. Yeah. So the tournament is the National Championships.
Right.
But it all comes from being a league bowler. Just how you qualify to become a contestant here is you have to have a league average, you have to bowl a league.
And the League Bowler Certification for people that bowl at a Bolero or AMF Center, it's an added benefit to being in their leagues where you get awards given to you for certain achievements. And the neat part about that here with the National Championships, and you were able to present a gentleman with his little Norm, his baby Norm, for shooting 300 last year, and they're doing it again this year. That is the coolest 300. I don't care. I know people have won cars with a 300 game. I remember when Dave Traber won a car in Milwaukee on a local TV show shooting 300. Keep the Firebird. Give me the little Norm.
I'll take the Firebird if that's okay with you. You can have your little Duke.
I can. Yeah, but think about that. In the black market, that Duke's going to go for 5 figures. No.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's the single greatest honor I've ever received. We talked about it before that, some of the guys, they get patterns named. You have the Bill O'Neill pattern or the Mike Albee pattern. I thought about that, and I thought, man, what happens when you don't bowl very good on the Duke pattern? Do you hate me? I don't want a pattern. And I didn't say that to anybody. I just thought it. And then when the commissioner called me for this award, he said, Norm, I think this is special. I said, you think? So do I.
Oh.
It took me about 4 seconds to say, heck yeah.
There's a new PBA pattern, the bat.
The bat?
Yeah, like the flying mammal, the bat.
Well, that's a shorter pattern. Look at that.
Yeah, it's a 37-footer, it looks like. I think that may be one of the patterns that's hitting out on the regional tours right now, so we'll have to see. Yeah, look at all these names. I mean, I'm just looking right now. I just got to the all pattern page, and my goodness, there's more names from bowlers, Hall of Famers and such, on the oil patterns than there are animal patterns. I remember it used to be the other way around. So,
yeah, when we started the patterns to begin with, you had the scorpion pattern, and you had the chameleon, and then the bear, and now most of the patterns are being named after players. And I tell you what, they actually play like you say. Like if you're going to play an Earl Anthony pattern, you better know what you're doing on strips.
Right.
We call them strips because you can't just move in and sell the ball to the right and get it back every time. You had to figure out how to play strips. Well, that Dick Weber pattern, if you're not going up the second 8, 9, 10 boards, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of times the players with so much rev rate, they change them up pretty quick. But that's the design of them, and it's amazing how on the fresh they play identical to the player they're named after, like the Don Johnson pattern. You better be able to play inside a third arrow. It's the way it goes.
Don't float it right because it's not coming back. And then now for the PBA Junior, they have 3 specific patterns named after players of that, with the Bill O'Neill, the E.J. Tackett, and the Danielle McEwen. So
yeah, and they're active players even.
Right.
So the active players are even getting patterns. That's why, if you pull bat on the Danielle pattern, and you can't wait to see Danielle in person, right? You want to tell her, why didn't you tell them to put a couple of more pumps in the heads?
But it's cool that we were talking with Tom a little bit about PBA Junior and just how it's taken off, and it's got to be, to live the dream. I mean, you were exceptional at 18, getting on TV, winning that title. Now they have the opportunity when these kids are 16, 15, 16, 17 to be at a national telecast and win a bunch of scholarship money, and to have the opportunity to show off to the world. That's so awesome. And that's just the top of the pyramid. I mean, everything to do at the base with all the different regional events. And now there's 10 different regional events this year that the players can go around to and advance to the national championships. It's not all on one weekend like they did for a few years now. If you don't do good at one, you get a second chance at it. So it's kind of like its own little tour now for the PBA Junior with the qualifiers.
Well, few people are old enough to know, but when Weber and I came out on tour, there wasn't any college bowling at all. So we went straight from high school to the PBA Tour. Hello, Mark Roth. Hello, Earl Anthony. That's how Pete and I were introduced to our tours. Pete and I were exceptional at an early age, and we knew from day one that we were going to be friends for many, many years, as long as we kept up our performance. But now you can play as a PBA member in a junior, with junior status, and graduate with scholarship money to the colleges that you can now represent and bowl on television.
Right.
I mean, it's incredible, the difference. And look, the PBA is committed to bowling competitively. They are committed to our youth. They're committed to growing not only the sport of bowling, but growing competitive bowling. And I think they're doing such a great job. I mean, this is the second year for this event, PBA LBC National Championships. This is the second year, I guess, for the PBA Junior. Am I wrong there?
Third year.
Third year for that.
Third year that they're doing the roundabout with the regional qualifiers.
And in each case, they are introducing a new level that wherever level you're on, you have a new level now that you can go through and make it a lot less a feast or famine than it was when Pete and I started. When we started, if you didn't do any good, you had to go home because you ran out of money.
Right.
Period.
Right.
And there wasn't a lot of money out there to begin with, so you had to be good immediately. Now you can so much hone your skills in the college level. You can learn from all those other college athletes that you're bowling alongside and training with. There's just so many more ways to get to the tour. And nothing says that you have to go through collegiate bowling.
Right.
Nothing says you have to, but for these kids, it's such an added benefit not to have to risk so much. Weber and I were anomalies where our parents had bowling centers. Mm-hmm. So we got free bowling.
Yeah.
That was so much different than most kids. All of the people that I bowled with, none of their parents had bowling centers.
Right.
So we had a circumstance that gifted us the opportunity that most kids will never see. Well, thanks to my father and to Dick Weber for that. But if your parents don't own a bowling center, what do? Now we have an answer. Now we have a path. And we're so proud of the PBA for that.
Yeah, and now there's so many centers, too, where they'll sell a block of practice time to the kids for nothing. I saw on the sign here a practice league where you get bonus free games of bowling. You bowl your league, but also it's designed to help you get better. And so you get additional free games of bowling if you're part of this league in order to get better. It doesn't matter what your age is.
And why not?
Right.
Why not do that, right?
Oh, it's phenomenal how, as you said, bowling's not an inexpensive sport. When you look at the
equipment, used to be, but it's not anymore.
It used to be, right. It used to be you had your two or four balls in a year that you'd use and drill them up, and they were whatever $100 a pop tops for the white dot or the angle or whatever.
I'm a lot older than you. We used to spend $29.99 for a yellow dot, and we thought that was outlandish.
But now, I mean, these kids are traveling to tournaments with 8, 10, 12 bowling balls at 150 to $200 a pop, and you know the equipment that's necessary to stay competitive. It's also made the sport more physical and more mentally demanding. It's kind of neat how as you've had the fight, because every change that's made in bowling is made for the proprietors. Let's face it, when we went from wood surfaces that you had to resurface every year or two, now we have synthetic lane surfaces. You put them in, you pretty much forget about it, change the panels out every 10, 12 years. Easier for the proprietors.
You have machines that
oil the lanes that you don't have to pay somebody to stand there with. They push 2 buttons and you can go clean the bar or do whatever. You know, everything's gone that way for years in bowling, and so it's kind of like fighting the oil now. It's always been that fight for the last 30 years, and you know the equipment needed to do it nowadays. It costs a few bucks, but these kids get so smart with taking jobs after school and getting, you know, they get bowling centers to help sponsor them out. And I mean, Trey Heinrichsmeyer, you see him on the masking unit right there is a prime example of that. You know, he does some work in a bowling center. They let him bowl for free and practice, and he gets to, you know, grind out where normally it would cost somebody walking in the door $4 a game. Well, if you're practicing 10 games in a day, mom and dad got to lay out that $40, you know. So these kids are so smart about it too. They have proprietors that if they're serious about the game. There's so many proprietors out here that help these young kids out too. It's
right,
really
and that SMART program, boy, it's helped so many people go to college.
Right.
And isn't that the most important thing, right? That we get a good education and that we don't have to live 40 years to pay off your college debt. Mercy. One
of the rules I'm so glad they changed it a few years back was that kids could start using it for technical education as well, so they could use it. And a friend of mine, his son didn't want to go to college, but he loved working on engines, diesel engines and stuff. And he knew how much money a diesel engine mechanic makes. Went to a technical school, was able to use that scholarship money still for technical school. Gets his knuckles dirty every day at work, loves it. He's got a great paying job. He's making 6 figures a year fixing diesel trucks. So yeah, it's not, you know, it helped cover his tools that he needed and everything. It was pretty neat that it's not just, you know, hey, you could be a doctor or a lawyer. It's, hey, you can be a plumber in an apprentice program, and you can use those smart funds to help you buy your tools and get all the books you need to learn while you're apprenticing and stuff. That's the best change you ever made in the SMART program, because, you know, as
all the things that does for our sport and for these participants in it. And, you know, all the sports are expensive.
Right.
Bowling is one of the few that you don't have to spend a whole lot as a non-committed competitor. Like for instance, you can come in and rent a pair of shoes, go and get you a ball that has a 13 on the side of it, and you can throw for 4 or 5 games and get out for less than $50. Well, you can't do that in most sports.
Right.
It's hard to go skiing without purchasing your own skis and your gear and just the outfit. You know.
You can't play a real baseball game unless you got a few friends. You can come out here and practice and bowl, no problem. I mean, sure, you can go to the batting cage, but what good does that do you if you're trying to field a ground ball?
Yeah.
That kind of thing, you know.
Bowling is unique in that regard. You can play it as a recreational player and as a competitor, but as you graduate, just realize that there is a cost associated with it, and manage that cost, and you'll be all right.
Yeah. Pretty good. All right, we're going to take a little audio intermission here. I'm going to refresh my beverage. You look like you're on empty there.
I'm actually going to lunch.
Oh, you're going to go to lunch. Excellent.
I'm going to lunch, so you've got it by yourself.
I've got
right
it the rest of the way through.
Hey, if you guys got questions for me later on, I'll be back.
Yeah.
But I'm going to lunch. I haven't eaten.
Go grab some lunch, and then, we'll get some questions in there for you, and we'll wrap up the day with you. And
and in the meantime, enjoy the PBA LBC National Championships.
Thanks everybody for joining us on this second squad of the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships. Well, apparently we're going to be rocking out with a little Queen and David Bowie here, a little under pressure. Don't know how many of these players are feeling it yet. With 3 games in the books, 3 remaining on this 6-game block. So once again, with this PBA LBC National Championships, there's 7 categories that us mere mortals can be a part of. 8th category, of course, is the PBA exempt spots. So we'll see our first participant in that PBA exempt division tomorrow with Jason Sterner. Our start time tomorrow, 11 a.m. here in Mount Prospect, 12 o'clock for those of you on the East Coast, and those of you in the LA area, you get a little breakfast bowling tomorrow with a 9 a.m. start in our Pacific time zone. Our other competitors, we have our Open Classic, Women's Classic, and Senior Classic divisions. Those are all divisions that do not use any handicap pins. And then we have our handicap divisions, men's handicap, women's handicap, boys handicap, girls handicap. So there's no average cap on the handicap division, no low floor. So you'll see some first-year players that have just started bowling league this year out here giving it a try at their first PBA experience and bowling in those handicap divisions. We have some players I know on the youth side coming up that are averaging in the low hundreds, but they want to give it a shot. And with the handicap pins assigned by average, it gives everyone kind of a fair shake getting into the competition as we move through our 7 weekends. Once again, this 43-foot LBC National pattern. Not playing the easiest for some players as they move pair to pair. Of course, I just remember last year having a 300 on day one and going, hey, this is going to be a good chance for people to tear it apart through the tournament. And there were some high scores all the way through. Obviously, we're going to have some high scores as we advance. Taking a peek around the lanes we have in play here. Don't see anybody with a big run. Lots of doubles, some three-baggers, that type of shot out there, but we got a little string going here on 31 and 32. Matthew Misicher is bowling the Open Classic division. He's got 678 for his first three, looking to add 279 to that here in game 4. If he can ride it all the way off the sheet, see what he does here in the 8th frame. So let's see what we can get here. Coming up in the 10th frame. For Matthew Misicher. As he's got a chance for 279. You'll see him step up on lane 32. Highest game I've seen so far today, if that happens. And once again, there is 6 additional weekends. If you're watching to see if you think you have what it takes to compete, of course you do. If you bowl, you have what it takes to compete. 7 different divisions for us mere mortals, along with the PBA exempt 8th division. All it takes is the payment of your entry fee. And if you're bowling in one of the divisions that adds handicap to your score, a verification of your average, and you too can be part of the 2024 PBA LBC National Championships here at Bolero Mount Prospect. Squad times 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. on Saturdays, 11 a.m. on Sundays. And there is the website address you need to get all that information. As Misicher used that 7-pin first ball of the 10th, still can be in the 250s with a conversion. PBA.com/LBC tournament. Is that going to hold on? Yes, it does. Quality use of the polyester by Misicher. To take care of business. Just 2 games remaining here on our second qualifying squad of opening weekend. Player movement. We'll try to track down some players that have hot hands and bring those to you in Game 5. And we'll see. No promises, but I know Norm said he was running to lunch at the end of the last game. Maybe see if he winds his way back here. I don't know. As hard as it's raining outside. If you run outside for lunch, he may be a little damp when he comes back in the building. Good day to be indoors. Thanks, everybody, for watching our opening weekend of the PBA LBC National Championships 2024 edition. Well, a couple players here on 3 and 4 with some big scores to finish out. Game 4. There's a 258 by Tyler Bry. So as we await player movement down here to lanes 3 through 6, remember you can watch any of the pairs in play on PBA YouTube. If you're watching us here on the main feed, if you look in the description below the video, you'll see all the links to the other pairs in play during this squad. 32 lanes going, so there's 8 pair feeds for you to choose from. Question in the chat about when it's open class singles. It's bowlers of all ages, abilities bowling at the same time, so there's no open classic division squad or anything like that. Eric, you were asking in the chat. There's several bowlers on the squad that are bowling in the boys handicap division. There's quite a few men's handicap bowlers as well. Some senior classic division bowlers. A couple women's handicap division bowlers on the roster for this squad. And quite a few in the open classic division. So basically it's by bowler ability that they enter for on a squad. You know, there's no specific open classic squad or PBA exempt squad like the PBA exempt had last year. Open classic, they just bowl any squad that's available. Whatever weekend somebody wants to sign up for, they can come in and bowl. If you're looking for more information about this LBC Classic tournament, there's a frequently asked questions section at LBC on the LBC tournament page at pba.com/LBC tournament. So get all that information, pba.com/LBC tournament. I'm $2 Phil Brilo, not only bringing you through today's action, but all the way through the 7 weeks of PBA LBC National Championship competition. And don't forget, you're going to have ability on some of the squads to watch your favorite PBA Tour Pro take to the lanes on the same lane condition. And I'm going to stop for a second, 'cause it's not too often you see a 5-7-10 left after the second ball. As that bowler originally left the 2-4, 5-7-10 and then chopped the 2-4 off. I might have to go into the archives and pull that one out later and take a look. You'll be able to follow some of your favorite PBA pros, such as tomorrow, 11 a.m., Jason Sterner will be on the squad. June 8th at 2 p.m., Chris Prather is on the squad. And June 15th, A.J. Chapman's bowling the 9 a.m. squad on that Saturday. So several PBA pros out there. There's a great article written by Nolan Hughes of the PBA headlining PBA.com today. Second annual PBA LBC National Championships underway in Chicago. And it gives you all the breakdown of payout ratios, divisions, what top scorers have the chance to get the Bayside Bowl in September for that PBA LBC National Championship Clash. That'll be an exciting show as always. And Bolero, not just a center where you can enjoy some quality bowling with your family and friends, whether it's recreational. A nice chat with Norm earlier, if you missed it. Rewind and go back, talking about just what it takes to go from being a recreational bowler to making a commitment to be competitive, and, you know, different costs of opportunity, I guess you can say, that come with that. It was a great chat. Like I said, hopefully I have a little bit of Norm tomorrow back in the booth. I don't know if we're going to catch him today, but we'll definitely catch him tomorrow. And how you can have a lot of fun at your local Bolero or AMF, Lucky Strike, or even just your neighborhood bowling center. But Bolero Mount Prospect here, 36 lanes all together. Nice size arcade going right now. Some of the bowlers that brought their children. Well, the kids don't always want to watch mom or dad bowl. All kinds of arcade games that the kids can play and maybe win a stuffed animal or two. Some billiards tables that are going just to my left. Heard somebody just make the break there. But lots of activities here inside of Bolero Mount Prospect. And if you come down to bowl the PBA LBC National Championships, lots of activities in the area. One of my favorites is always, you know, when you have a couple extra bucks, hey, let's put it on a hand of blackjack, or a couple of casinos close by here to Bolero Mount Prospect. American Place and Rivers Casino, both within about 20-minute drive. Not a good day for a Cubs game, but if you're a baseball fan, Wrigley Field not too far away. And some great deals on nearby hotels as well for those bowling in either the PBA LBC National Championship, or if you're bowling the Peterson Classic. If you haven't bowled the Peterson Classic just once in your life, to experience what tough bowling really is. There's still 10 pins. It's still 60 feet from the foul line to the head pin. What oil is applied and where on the lanes, along with what type of pins will be set for you, light, heavy, watered down. Some seem like they're covered in concrete for your 10 pins on a rack. It's an experience you need to try just once at the Pearson. That's being held at nearby Bolero Vernon Hills. Squads every weekend, as long as there's enough people to bowl. I think 8's the minimum for a Peterson squad on a weekend. They'll also do weekday squads by request. And if you average 190 in that tournament, you're walking out with a ton of money. And they also, for bowlers of lower calibers, they also have pins over average divisions as well. And that goes on a little longer than the LBC National Championships here. LBC National Championships wrap up mid-July. That goes through the Sunday before Labor Day, September 1st. And you can go to bolero.com/Peterson-Classic and get all that information about the Peterson. and pardon me, the minimum 16 to run a squad. So, and you can do it with a combination of adult and youth bowlers, because youth bowlers can earn money in scholarship and have that sent to their smart fund. And you got to do it once in your life. The only MLB team anybody should care about is the Orioles? I don't think so. I mean, as a Brewers fan, good luck. I mean, you got Corbin Burns from us, so that's fine. I get it. But, yeah, as an American League team, yeah, I'll root for them. Hey, greetings from Germany. Good to see you. We got a little action from across the pond tuning in for us. No, there were a couple of German players at the World Series of Bowling this year. Tobias Birding. Not the greatest finish during the World Series of Bowling. Overall in the World Championship finished 86, but he had a run at a couple of events trying to make the match play rounds. "19 nations and the U.S. participated in this year's World Series of Bowling. 10-pin bowling, definitely a worldwide sport. And the number of players that cross the pond regularly, not just on the PBA Tour, but on the PBA 50 Tour. Always good to see the players. It's not cheap to bowl on either tour, add in international airfare and other expenses, and it can be pretty pricey to get over here. But if you want to bowl against the best, you're definitely coming to the U.S. and the PBA Tour. Chris, no, I haven't touched a bowling ball since January 2020. Losing to you in Thursday nights at Riviera just ruined me for the game for life. So it's all your fault why I don't bowl pot games anymore. Thanks, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. And Double Chicago, yeah, you can still participate as a scratch bowler. You'd have to bowl in one of the open divisions, whether it's Open Classic, Senior Classic if you're 50 or older, or Women's Classic if you're female. And you too can participate by paying the entry fee for the LBC National Championships. Get your shot at that $25,000 on top in the Open Classic division, $5,000 guaranteed on top for either the Women's Classic or Senior Classic divisions. So yeah, the opportunity is still there even if you don't have a current posted average. There's a lead you don't see too often on lanes 5 and 6. Eddie Collins leaving the old 1-6 non-split. Don't forget, if you have a combination with a head pin, technically and legally not considered a split. That's why washouts are called washouts. Any other questions, drop them in the chat. I'll try to answer them as best I can to my knowledge and ability. Once again, as we go through the 2024 edition of this LBC National Championship the PBA is putting on, not every squad will have this main feed. We'll have the main feeds when we have PBA Tour professionals able to get on the commentary and chat with us, or other special guests as the tournament progresses. But you'll always have the ability to follow anybody on any squad, any pair, any game, any ball. And if you miss them live, you can always go back in the archives here on the PBA YouTube channel and watch. And for those of you curious about equipment, I don't see why UC3 wouldn't be legal. The only thing that really is legal, it's not full PBA Tour rules. It's not like you have the 2-year-old urethane, having to be made before August or being made after August 1st. 2022 is in effect for bowlers on this squad. Basically, any ball that's currently on the legal list for USBC competition is legal in this PBA LBC National Championships. You wouldn't be able to use, however, old purple hammers, that type of equipment, but I'm going to get some clarification on that. Let's take a peek in over here. Looks like on 25 and 26, Ryan Kohlmeyer. 909 after his first 4. You can see him stepping up right there on lane 26 as he can't get the second strike in the 10th to carry, but still a solid game for Kohlmeyer. As he tries to take his way to the top of the Open Classic division early on in this event. As he'll have a chance to be in the 259 or 258 range with that spare there. And the spare mag, great game, 258 for Kohlmeyer. So I'm going to consult with the PBA Director of Competition, Neil Stremmel, and double check on the eligibility of a bowling ball or two. It's been questioned in the chat. But we should be good for the LBC. Yeah, let me double check on that. Make sure, because I just checked the LBC frequently asked questions page and there's no answer. On that. So we're going to give you a little short audio intermission here. And get you some clarification on that. As the PBA LBC National Championships roll on here from Bolero Mount Prospect, our second squad of the event. Taking place currently, final squad of our opening weekend takes place tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Time. those of you joining us for Game 6, got a little clarification. Went and talked to Neil Stremmel, and he got me the link, and I'll put it in the comment section right now where you can see the official equipment certified bowling balls allowed in PBA LBC leagues, tournaments, and events. And basically anything that's been made except for some balls such as the Purple Hammer from 2016 and 2017 that's been made illegal due to the softness they developed over time. Yeah, as long as your Purple Hammer doesn't start with a serial number of 6 or 7, you're able to use it. There's another Purple Hammer, the MK edition, that had an orange pen. You can only use the 15-pound version of that ball. So your purple urethane Pearl Hammer that was approved December 27, 2022. Or the purple solid urethane developed in 2021 in October. Those are good for you, but I put that link out there, so if you have a bowling ball you want to double check on. And there's somebody chatting in. I believe Korean in the chat. Unfortunately, I can't read. And it doesn't let me translate, so I know you may be asking questions. I apologize for not being able to answer them. So yeah, so if you show up, because you have to write the serial numbers of your bowling ball down on your scorecards, just like a PBA event. And so if you come with a Purple Hammer that has a serial number starting with a 6 or a 7, that one's gone. But like pitch blacks, I know there's been some controversy about that on the national PBA tour, but for the LBC events, it is considered an approved ball. I'm looking at the list right now. There's of the various pitch balls: the pitch black, pitch blue, pitch purple, pitch red. That one didn't last long, the pitch red. The fever pitch, that one had a good peak from some players for a while. The fast pitch as well, but yeah, if you want to check, you can search by bowling ball company and name of the bowling ball through that link provided in the chat. All right, and we've got a front 8 alert here in Game 6. Derek Lewandowski, he's bowling in the open scratch division. He's got a total of 1,034 for his first 5, so not a great day to this point for Lewandowski, but looking to finish strong. as you'll see him stepping up on lane 8 momentarily, looking for his nifty 9th in a row. And there you see in the red jersey, Lewandowski. He's chasing down his Mini Duke. 15 of those awarded last year for 300s during this PBA LBC National Championships in 2023. And the lefty puts number 9 on the board. Lewandowski out of Iowa. Last season contributed to Muscatine's victory in the Clinton, Iowa Kings and Queens High School Tournament. Part of the All-Metro Bowling team in the Quad Cities area. And he'll be stepping up looking for his chance to grab a Duke here in the 10th frame. Lewandowski's helped the high school team he's on in Muscatine get to the Iowa State Finals a couple times. Now he's looking to put the finishing touches on perfection here in his final game of competition. Might not be a score that cashes by the end of the tournament, but it may be a memory of a lifetime here for Derek Lewandowski. Lefty comes up, keeps it on target line. Oh, crawls up 6-pin high. No mini Duke for Lewandowski, but a 299 and a great finish here. To his competition. Definitely no nerves on that shot. Right. You're going to be nervous no matter what, going for perfection, but to do it on a national spotlight, such as what the young man's doing here. Yeah, looking in the chat right now, somebody asking about the pattern. If you go to the LBC tournament page at PBA.com, you can actually download that oil pattern. And if you wanted to practice on it at your own center, you could. So 43 feet in length, nice amount of volume in the pattern, about a 4.5 to 1 ratio. It's not kick the ball down the lane easy, but you definitely have to make quality shots with speed control to put up a score like we just saw Lewandowski attempt this last game. I was hoping to give out a mini Duke. Well, they actually have to wait for it. They do have to be manufactured as the 300s are shot. For those of you looking for that link, let me copy and paste it into the chat here. There you go. So you can click on that link in the chat now, and that'll give you the download information to put that pattern on your local bowling center's Kegel oil machine, and they can give you practice on what you might see out here. Obviously, every lane surface is different center to center. Heck, even pair to pair sometimes in some centers. But be able to know what equipment you have to bring with you if you're traveling from a distance, like many players are here today. Keep that shipping cost, freight cost, weight in the trunk to a minimum. Make some quality equipment choices, and just, you know, it's always great when proprietors are always willing to try things other than house patterns as well, in my opinion. I know last year in for summer leagues at Bayside Bowl in Portland, Maine, they put out the LBC National pattern, which is actually a little easier than many of the patterns they put out for their Bowl Portland League and other leagues in that center. And we've seen with several large strings of strikes on this squad, obviously, Lewandowski's 299 comes to mind, but Kohlmeier's recent 258 as well shows that you make the proper adjustments as this pattern gets broken apart. Make the proper moves, keep yourself in the pocket. See a question in the chat. Alicia, why make a ball then have it banned? It's not that they knew they were making, having it banned. The Purple Hammers were notorious for softening up the urethane shell. Was getting softer over time, and it leaves a larger footprint on the lane. USBC requires a 73, and the PBA LBC program requires a 73 hardness on the durometer to measure the surface of a bowling ball and how soft or hard it may be. It needs to be 73, and they found with Purple Hammers and a couple other urethane balls over time, those bowling balls would get softer with use, and a bowling ball rolls down the lane, causes friction. Friction is heat, and chemical reactions change, and it wasn't anybody's intent. There's been bowling balls in the past that they manufactured cores that push the maximum density of the RG differential, and past my level of science I apply to bowling. It's up to the others in the leadership positions. But then, there were a couple of bowling balls made by Motive. The shells of the bowling balls were fine. It was the cores that were causing the problems. Cores, if they start grabbing up, if they have the ability to grab up sooner and harder than different cores, that's going to adjust how well the bowling ball works too. Most of it's the surface of the bowling ball, from what I hear from experts, but the core also has a lot to do with it. Obviously, that's why when a pro shop lays out your bowling ball, at that point in time, they don't worry about your surface. They worry about where that weight block is being positioned on the bowling ball. If you want it to roll earlier or later, if you want the hockey stick look, if you want an easy roll into the lane. I mean, there's so many combinations that they can do to change your bowling ball with the core, and then obviously the surface adds on to that. A surface at 500 grip is going to roll earlier and easier than a surface that might have some type of polish that has a friction agent in it where it goes longer and then hooks harder. So the intent wasn't there. Nobody's ever made a bowling ball that has had the intent to be illegal. Sometimes just in the manufacturing processes, changes occur and takes the bowling ball manufacturer from being fully legal and in tolerances of both the USBC and the PBA LBC program, and makes them out of tolerance. All right. Wow, it's coming down outside here in Mount Prospect. My goodness. Good night to be inside. Good night to go bowling. Hey, if you haven't gotten the excitement level up for yourself to get out there and go bowling, once we're done with this squad here, I don't know what to tell you. So thanks to everybody that been asking questions in the chat, helping answer some of the other bowlers' questions in the chat. I mean, that's how we all learn. You know, none of us have the expertise level of a PBA pro or a PBA tour ball rep for a company or anything like that, but there's enough people out there that follow the sport and have that little bit of knowledge and, you know, can share it with others in the chat, and glad everybody's been doing it respectfully with each other. That's always appreciated too. So that's one thing I do find with bowlers. It's not too many times where you see bowlers really talking down to another bowler about, you know, they're trying to help educate them. It's not like, hey, you know, why don't you know this? It's like, hey, let me help you learn. So, yeah, thanks everybody in the chat today. It's appreciated. And we'll have some more chat for you tomorrow. As 11 a.m. tomorrow, if you're a Jason Sterner fan, tomorrow's going to be a great day for you, because even though we might not feature him every game in the main feed here from the PBA LBC National Championships. You'll be able to watch him every pair he bowls on. During the course of his 6 games, he'll be attacking the same pattern all the other players are attacking with the 43-foot LBC National Championships pattern. And it'll be interesting to see oh, we had a little excitement earlier with Lewandowski's 299 finish. However, that wasn't going to get him near the top of the Open Classic division standings. Right now, between Ryan Kohlmeyer, who we saw as 258 earlier, he's finishing with a total just above 1,400. It's going to be a battle here between Kohlmeyer and Matthew Messicher. I hope I'm getting that last name correct. I'll say Messicher and it'll be Messicher, and then I'll ask him if it's Messicher and he'll say it's Messicher, so I'm going to cover both of those. Only thing we're worried about right now is if he can get at least the first strike in the 10th, and he'll be our early leader in the Open Classic division. We'll have a short chat with him. After this is done. So we're going to end our streaming day here on the main feed. There's still a couple of pairs you can go ahead and catch on your own on those pair feed links that you see in the description below your video. And we're going to have a chance to talk to one, if not both, of our squad leaders here. And if you haven't already liked the PBA LBC Facebook page, PBA League Bowler Certification Facebook page, go on Facebook, give that a like. We'll have a chat with Matthew and or Ryan Kohlmeyer, once we're complete with the squad. So thanks everybody for joining us today. We will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. We'll keep you here until the end of Miesicher's 10th frame, and then join us back at 11 a.m. tomorrow. I'm $2 Phil Brylo. Hey, parents, take the kids bowling because we'll have fun for life, and they'll have fun for life. And we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m.
I will definitely find.